What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Game of King Chair, Episode 2, where we talk about Game of Thrones, Season 8.
The grand finale.
The grand finale.
The Great War.
The War for Dawn.
It's almost here.
Winter is here.
Winter is here. And so are you, Brando.
I am. The small council has convened.
Yeah. We haven't had this since Episode 2 of Podcastrophe.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in that episode, we reviewed the entirety of Season 7 and a lot of the entire series.
Yeah, we kind of gushed.
Wow.
We-
Yeah.
We definitely gushed.
When we get going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thinking way back to that. I mean, we did that on my couch.
Yeah, right.
Like,
And-
that's the only podcast that's been done on my couch.
Well, and it is kind of funny because I said small council, and I'm trying to think, trying to remember back in the cockles of my brain, what are like the seats on the small council? It's like the master of laws, the master of secrets,
The ships.
master of ships,
Coin.
So I think Blaine should be master of coin because it's kind of funny.
He's
like
terrible with money, though.
Absolutely.
He's directing the ship.
Oh man, it's good to be here though, guys. It's really good to be back. I wanted to be here last week even, but I was still recovering pretty bad from a pretty bad cold. I don't know if you can still hear it in my voice. It's being expelled from my body still, but I'm good enough to be here.
We're glad you're here.
Yeah, I definitely I caught the last. You know what's funny? Like I saw you guys were live. I was doing something. I'm like, I need to tune in. As soon as I click that thing, I hear Nick say, "Well, I think that's about it." I'm like, oh man, okay.
Damn it!
Missed the whole damn thing.
There was quite a bit of Brando said. Brando.
That's what I just told him before we got off work. I was like, sweet, I won't have to like paraphrase and like retell your stories and
I can
theories.
paraphrase myself.
Yeah.
Well, I once said this week.
Once upon a time.
Dude, we've said a lot of stuff this week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're doing this on Thursday this time.
Mm-hmm.
This is its own episode. It's not an episode of Podcastrophe. And, like, we've had time to mull this over. We've had a lot of time to discuss our theories and gush and talk about who's going to die next episode. Who's going to live, who's going to die.
There's going to be a lot of death.
There's going to be a lot of death.
I definitely want to go through the entire list in a safe or not.
Mm-hmm. I just got done listening to that on the Kind of Funny review.
Did they do that?
They did a whole.
Damn.
They went as far as Lady Karstark.
What?
Yeah, they're
Lady Karstark, you mean?
Karstark. Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
That's even what they said.
I didn't even know she was there.
When I hear it on the show, I hear Cal Stark.
Karstark.
Yeah. Okay.
Costock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Silly American. Fucking cultureless swine. Yeah, they even went as far as like naming her off. They even went Ghost.
Oh,
Yeah.
What?
And Arya's direwolf.
Oh,
Yeah.
I saw.
Nymeria?
Yeah.
A fun question popped up that there's definitely going to be some brand warging. Like, it's definitely going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's going to happen this time? Do you think that this big battle, like, I mean, if we're going to do something crazy like warging to the Night King, I don't think that's going to happen this time. But what if he wargs into Viserion?
Do you think I don't even know if he's gonna warg. I feel like that was a brand thing, and he's Three-Eyed Raven now.
But they've already gone through such lengths to explain to us that he's able to do it.
Oh, yeah, true.
But
And
they do kind of leave things off the
he
table.
actually did warg into like a crow or a raven.
Yeah, you're
At the
right.
end of last season when he saw the
You're right.
the dead one march
Okay.
past the wall. So
I
he definitely does still do it.
I take back that stupid statement.
No, dude, like this episode has been coming for 8 years.
And I think it totally went over most people's heads that I've been seeing on the internet, where everyone's like, God, another episode of just talking. I'm like,
No.
I really like the dragons and the fighting
Yeah.
and the action. But part of what makes it a good show is the talking.
This is the goodbye.
What show have you been watching for the last 8 years?
Yeah, no kidding.
Boobs, man. They want boobs and they want fucking people to get gruesome deaths.
There's
And
only like 4 or 5 like even actual battles throughout the entire show.
Yeah.
Most of it's talking, positioning, boobs,
and betrayal.
and betrayal, and
Yes.
then some
Yes.
wieners, which we haven't seen any wieners this season.
apparently we saw a venereal Hodor wiener, and I don't remember that part.
I do. I think I remember that. It was a while ago, but we had it.
It was another dialogue-heavy episode, which, I mean, we're at the end game of Game of Thrones. See how I did that? So I was fine with it, and I think that, I mean, the first episode, you're like, okay, we got all the talking out of the way. It's like, now we've done all the talking we could possibly do. The episode ends with,
at least in Winterfell,
they're there. Yeah, there was no.
I'm sure the King's Landing can do a lot more talking.
There was no King's Landing.
No.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And you know what? When they do these big battles, like Battle of the Bastards is a little bit different, but when they did the Battle of Blackwater and when they did the Battle at the Wall against Mance Rayder, that battle was just confined to that episode. They didn't go jumping around; it was just there.
Yes.
And I really hope this is the same way. Even though we didn't get any Cersei or King's Landing last episode, I don't want that this episode.
Definitely.
I think there's enough characters to bounce around.
Oh, definitely. Certainly.
Oh, yeah.
That they don't need to do that.
No,
what else do we have to? I mean, what else do we have to wrap up in King's Landing right now?
Mm-hmm.
We're just there waiting for the results of what's about to happen.
Exactly.
I mean, the most action we got in this episode was Arya.
Absolutely.
and no, I mean, not even just Arya and Gendry, but like her fucking throwing the daggers. You know, that was cool.
That was cool.
And
not the action I want.
And Gendry, you got it a couple scenes later.
Creepy. Arya's gotten pretty creepy.
But no, you see Gendry's face like, she just did that.
What about the dude that's sitting right next to the beam?
Right.
He's just chilling out, you know, like, oh, crap.
And then another, and then another. Yeah, she's not even the sex stuff, because I honestly don't fucking care about that stuff.
Yeah.
But just the way she's talking to people, I'm like, Arya, like, you're so fucking cold. Like, and I get it. You've all been through some stuff. You know, Tormund's keeping his sense of humor. You know?
Yes.
Why can't everyone else?
Oh, man. Tormund was a highlight of this episode.
Just
Absolutely.
plowing into Jon Snow.
Alcohol, because no good story starts with milk. Except that one time.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I suckled at it.
No, this episode was really cool because this is probably more than likely the last time, one, you're going to see these characters.
A lot of them,
this is the last time you're going to see these guys in a normal setting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Like just being themselves. Because from here on out, it's all going to be fighting for their lives.
It's definitely the calm before the storm.
Yes.
Like, it definitely feels like that. I really like that, you know, like right before it went on air, like mentioned it, likened it like Mass Effect or something. And I can remember in like almost kind of like a Mass Effect 3, right before the end, where you're just walking around and there's this weird kind of like tonal music behind everything, and it's like you're talking to everybody for what seems like the very last time.
Because a lot of people assume that they're gonna die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and it, like, even though Mass Effect 2 is a suicide mission, this is it. You're on ground zero. You are, you know, surrounded to the brim with enemies. Of course, with this show, the dead is coming, and you're just like one by one, like talking and like saying what needs to be said, or how like in this show, it's like how are you spending those moments? And each character kind of does their own thing. Some of them hang out together, trade stories about killing giants and, you know, drinking what wine is left there, and then also you have like, you know, like what I like with so many characters together, which is so weird for this show, is that you have scenes with certain characters right after you have scenes with other characters. Like there were 3 scenes with Jaime in a row, like with the whole trial, and then him with was it Tyrion, and then him with Brienne, all right in a row. And you got all those, and then almost same with Arya. You had the scene with Arya, and then she sat with the Hound, you know, kind of brings that partnership back into play just for a little bit, and then of course, you know, her big scene with Gendry. But there's a lot of characters that have that here, saying what needs to be said, or just, and then you see with different people, how are they dealing with this? Like they're coming, they're going to be here before the dawn, right? So a couple people sitting up there, like the Hound and Barrack, right? Sitting there by themselves drinking, and then you have the group within the hall in front of the fireplace drinking and talking, and either telling
Yeah.
great stories or just sitting in quiet solace. This episode had a feel, and I'm really getting irritated. And this has been the same for the past 2 weeks. Like you said, nothing's happened. It's like, well, actually, this is the most.
Yeah, a lot has happened.
Like, there's a lot of full circle in this episode, and I've been saying this all week. And I can bring it so with starting off with Jamie, full circle with Jamie. He rode back into Winterfell, not the same man that he rode in episode 1.
One of my favorite things that was pointed out to me was, so that first episode mirrored the first episode of the season, mirrored the first episode of the show in many different ways. Yeah. The way that Jamie rolls in and pulls off his hat is exactly the same, except this time his hair isn't blonde. His hair is real dark. So, and he's the one, he told Cersei, he's like, I'm not, it doesn't matter if the Lannisters are sitting over, ashes. Like, this is a battle for the living, not a battle for the Lannisters. And I love small shit like that just kind of sneaks through. Yeah. That he's not the same character that he was. And yes, he made the joke about fucking his sister. Mm-hmm. Times were simpler. And he goes, when I was fucking my sister? Yeah.
Yeah. I like that trial scene. Because now we have Daenerys center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's actually a really good point of note, because before in the first episode it was a little bit different, because you kind of had Jon with Daenerys on one side and then Sansa on the other, and then now it's kind of like the tone has changed.
She specifically refers to Jon as Warden of the North. Yes, which is not that's not a you're in control leadership.
Not right now because the Queen's here.
Yeah. That's which it should be in Sansa's eyes. It should be he's the king in the North.
Sure.
But I think she definitely said that with some bite to it. And then so you got that. You got Brienne sticking up for Jamie, and then you got fucking Bran. The things we do for love. Damn, bro.
Dude, the look on his face was like,
not now.
Oh no, oh no, we're here. It gets brought up. It's over. But then he doesn't bring it up at all.
Yeah, everybody's just looking at Bran like, God damn, really again?
you cryptic motherfucker. You're just gonna sit there and
we finally get you out of the courtyard and you're still doing this shit.
Bran never warms up. He's always cold. So the trial. Let's get into the trial a little bit, because I wasn't terribly satisfied. I know we have a whole lot of shit to condense. Like, we don't have a whole lot of time.
And Jon Snow's body language and just how he says we can use all the men we can get. Yeah. You can tell he's just one, I just found out I'm Aegon Targaryen. That's weighing heavy, and I'm sitting next to my aunt.
Yeah.
That fuck.
Do you see that meme that when your aunt gets you that perfect pair of socks for Christmas, and then it's them kissing?
Well, and the thing is that maybe even more so to him, it's he's thinking about the conundrum even more so than the relation, but the conundrum of I just swore fealty to her, and now I am this. This is going to cause problems.
And she's the one that is so she wants it's the line, I'm the queen because that is the way that it is. Mm-hmm. And Jon doesn't fucking care about that shit at all. At no point is he saying oh, how am I going to break it that I'm the king? He doesn't want to be the king. He doesn't fucking care. No. So yeah, there's definitely, Jon's always been really just fucking bad at this thing. He's a great guy and he's fucking badass. But he did get himself killed being a good guy. And he's trying to fucking do it again. And again, no one has brought up the whole fact that they're related and fucking, because no one fucking cares. But the first thing out of Dany's mouth is
throne.
Oh, you're trying to take my throne. It's if I'm gonna be your husband and you're gonna be my wife, then it doesn't fucking matter. We're both in charge anyway.
Yeah.
But he doesn't care.
Yeah,
he doesn't care. He just wants to live.
And that was my next point was none of this shit matters. We can use all the men we can get. Dead or coming. None of this matters. Why are we arguing about this? Dead or coming.
he is, out of all the kids, even though his true parent has been
but he's
revealed,
one of the kids still.
he is the most Ned Stark out of all of them.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it shows. It showed in season 7 when the queen is like, okay, fine. If you'll stay out of this, then
he's like,
it's fine. He goes, I
can't do that.
Because Cersei knows for damn sure that Ned is honorable to his death.
Yeah.
And he sees that, and she sees it in Jon. She's like, he's not going to do anything dishonorable, ever. And he doesn't. I mean, he did kind of break his vows, didn't he?
Yeah.
Fuck Ygritte. But they told him to. They were like, you go do what you have to do.
Hey, I mean,
John's.
who else is going to find out?
What happens behind the wall stays behind the wall.
Exactly, right?
That's what they say.
And then he married her in real life.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah,
That's
is pretty
cute.
Cool. But okay, so there's Jon, and of course Jon wants nothing but to get the hell away. What they did in the first episode, where you're there for the entire episode, 50 minutes, 54 minutes, whatever, and you're like, when are they going to tell him?
Mm-hmm.
When are they going to tell him? And it's right at the very end. And then and now it's like, okay, what's going to happen now? When are they going to address this? And they don't until the very end.
They're doing a really good job of stringing it along.
Yes, and they can get away with it because there's so many other characters and plot points to even touch upon and let you forget about it while you're enjoying those moments.
Yep.
Like these cliffhangers that they're giving us with this Jon Targaryen shit.
Yeah,
they're not even making me mad.
No.
Because there's just like you said, there's just so much going on.
And he could do, and you know what's funny, because we talked about how honorable he is and how truthful he is to the people that he cares about, right? And even to true to his word, there they are in that moment, and he knows that if he keeps his mouth shut, she is going to fight alongside him. They are good to go. There's no tension, right? But instead, they're there together. Of course, she seeks him out, right?
Yeah.
He can't help himself.
Well,
no,
he's been avoiding her. He's been avoiding her.
Oh, because there's that moment where he kind of brushes past her, and you see. And they point on her face and go.
He skips town.
She is like, the fuck.
Yeah,
he skips town twice on her.
Yeah,
but she just went through. They just went through the whole spiel with Sansa about how much Dany loves Jon and everything. And they make the point to say that she said the only thing I've wanted my whole life is to get that throne, and nothing else mattered until I met Jon. Okay, that's what you said.
He manipulated me.
So you said that the only thing that matters to you is getting that throne because it's what you fucking deserve. Then Jon came along, and guess what?
But
he took your heart and your throne.
And every single time that her throne is sort of challenged, she gets very defensive and her demeanor changes. She, for as a lovable character and caring of a character that she is, the moment that she has a mean streak.
Yeah,
she does.
And it's like,
and her whole image of her life is twisted in that moment. Like, yeah, you're not actually. This isn't your part.
It's challenging for her because is her love for him greater than her love for the restoration or what she's been striving for the last 8 years?
I would be surprised and very happy if she let Jon do what he needs to do, didn't make a big deal out of it or whatnot. But I don't think she's gonna. I think we're gonna see. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Dany turn, a heel turn, from Dany. I don't know if it's going to be an abandonment on the battlefield. That would absolutely shock me because a couple people have brought that up. Like, what if Dany just gets her dragon and gets the fuck out when this goes sour? I'm like, oh, I don't see that happening at all.
Viserions.
No, if anything, because of the way that they set this episode up, with them dangling that carrot, because there's some people like, what if one of them dies in the episode? I'm like, I think those two characters are relatively safe because they need to settle that, and they're not going to settle that arguing on a battlefield because they're going to be too distracted. Yeah. It's going to come up in the aftermath when whatever's happened has happened and dust has kind of settled and things have calmed down enough for them to sit there at one, because there's 3 episodes after this, and 2 of them are long ones, just like this one.
They're all 80 minutes now.
Are they?
We've already got we've already got the 2 shorts, and the next 3 are between 80 and 90 minutes.
And so we have time for them to have that kind of conversation. So what does this mean?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that would happen more so than I don't think because they meant so much to express how much Danny feels for John, and of course in the first episode, Sansa right out. Did you do it for the North, or did you do it because you love her?
And I'm so fucking sick of people questioning Jon Snow. He has never, ever done anything to make anyone not trust him. Am I wrong?
No.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
you're right.
Everyone is so untrusting of Jon, and especially from fucking Sansa. I would look at her and be like, what the fuck are you talking about, bitch? Jesus Christ. Do you know what I've been through to protect these people?
Took a knife to the heart.
But,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Too, Ollie.
I'm totally just devil advocating Danny being Mad Queen, but
I don't see that necessarily happening, but it's definitely going to be like a point of contention because obviously with the oncoming threat and we had a lot of cool scenes, and then again I mentioned full circle that we have wonder of like, you know, character arcs kind of came full circle here, and one of those was Brienne.
Mm-hmm.
She's gone. I have no faith that she. What else is left?
I mean,
what else do we
right.
need? What else do we need from Brienne? Is my thing. Like a lot of people are saying, Jaime's gonna die. No,
he's still
Jaime is. He has to. I think he is going to finish things with Cersei. He has to. That it has to end. Like Cersei and Jaime are gonna see each other again.
Yeah,
they're gonna. He's not gonna go fucking. He's not gonna die out there. But you know, your Barracks, your Torments, like
Barracks fucking dead. He's definitely dead.
Grey Worm. Oh, that was the worst. Talking about going off to a sunny vacation afterwards. I'm like,
you are signing your death
certificate. You're so dead. He's gonna be thinking about those
Bro,
fucking beaches,
you're dead.
and the sandy titties, and he's not gonna be able to do it.
The whole Brienne,
you can get that phantom boner.
The whole Brienne deal, the scene with Brienne and Jaime after she stood up for him, and then he's going out to talk to her, and I love her reaction. She gets a little like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "It's the longest we've been together without you putting me down."
I thought that was very, very forced. I get it, but I don't know what's going on with that scene.
Well, I feel like she is feeling like, where are you coming from with this? You came here by yourself, turning your back on the person you love, and you're here, and now you're talking to me. It's like, because every time, even though they've had their journey and they had everything, Jaime always kind of carries himself a certain way around her, even though he's good to her, you know, for the most part. Because their last meeting with the whole Blackfish thing, yeah, there's sort of a arrogant type thing with Jaime. I'm here, I got to do my job, all that kind of stuff. But now we're here, and Jaime's like, look, you like throughout everything, it's like, I'm here I want to fight with you. If I'm here by myself, you know, who else out here is Jaime would want to share that battlefield with, as far as like someone who can trust him to have his back.
That's true, right?
And it's like, if I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna fight and pull my weight, I want to do it with you. And you know what? Take charge. Do what you do, because she has nothing to prove for him. He knows he knows what she is and how badass she is. And I really like that. And then that comes into play later when they're talking about, like, you know, knights and how she's not one, and how she's like, I don't really want that anymore. It's like bullshit.
Right.
That is the most bullshit statement. That is something that she's always wanted.
Mm-hmm. And the buck tradition.
Yes, exactly.
There's a big theme of bucking tradition.
And I love that because, of course, even with this fantasy realm, women are seen and treated. I mean, they're strong women. Brienne,
this whole story is about women empowerment. There's so much. The main characters that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
Cersei, Dany. You know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, there's a bunch of very strong women. And
Sansa as well, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. But also think about just like in general, just how they're viewed within the society and all that kind of things. Yep. And here's Brienne. She's kind of like this person on, like, even within you know, where she's from and everything. And well, it's not really accepted. So she kind of bucks that. And then Jaime, okay, I'll knight you. And then you get that. And you know, while you said, you know, you thought that scene was forced, I thought the scene with her being knighted, she did such a great job with that scene because you could see like the tears.
No, I loved that. That scene was great.
And like, of course, we had all the Tormund talk, and he's trying to pretty much whip his dick out and say, "I'm bigger than Jaime."
Yeah, but at the same time, as soon as she stands and
then he is
the first one to like cheer her on. Jaime, and because Jaime just did it, but you would think he'd be like.
And that's such an interesting, like we were talking about the way that the women are viewed, and Tormund, they respect the living shit out of strong women.
Yeah,
that's why he likes Brienne, because he's like, oh,
the big woman.
This Southern girl, she fucking
the big woman.
That's like the second thing that he says when he gets back. He tackles Jon and hugs him. He's so glad to see him.
Still here?
Big woman here. I love it, but
yeah,
that's another full circle thing. And of course, it's like after that, of course, it's like, well, she's probably gonna die. But full circle. Of course, then you have that same sort of feeling with even with Arya and Gendry. It's like I almost want to call my wife the master of ships because she's been shipping that damn thing ever since the beginning.
Oh yeah,
and then of course it happens, and it's like I have seen so many people being like, oh, they're going to end up together. I'm like, I don't see that.
No.
I think this was because that kind of goes against Arya's whole character demeanor. I don't see her like settling in for anybody. I think she's kind of like a wanderer after this.
Arya's one of the only Starks I can see going down. Like I don't see a reason for Sansa to die. Like if it's like just an overall takeover and everyone's fucking murdered, okay. But Sansa's not going to see battle. Like Arya's gonna go fucking fight, and I'm real scared. I'm real scared for her, but I want her. Like they're really building up Clegane Bowl.
Yeah,
but I think I would be more satisfied with Arya's getting her final kill against the Mountain because that would be fucking. And I don't know why I want that so bad. Just because he's definitely on the list. So Cersei, but it's like, well, it's no one else's other people are gonna deal with Cersei.
So would you want the Clegane Bowl to happen? Because Arya decides to go after him, and
he's the one that saves her, and then it's like a handicap match. The Hound and Arya against the Mountain,
and so like we get the Clegane Bowl,
and then we both win, and then everybody wins.
Exactly.
We win.
I got chills from that. Oh, that'd be badass. Either way, if the Hound and him are fighting, and Arya comes in, or the other way around, oh, that would be so good.
So while we're talking about Arya. And no, we're not going into that. Have you guys noticed that they're phantom menacing us?
With the staff.
She's like, she comes out with the staff. And on the paper, you see something different.
It breaks apart.
So, much like the Phantom Menace, the first time you see Maul, like with his lightsaber, it's just one. And you're like, okay, he's just a regular guy. And then later on, boom, boom. Whoa, he's got double lightsaber.
I guess you don't see the double till the end, do you?
No, you don't.
But you do notice that it's really long.
It's in the trailer. It was in the trailer.
But yeah, that's an interesting point because my head goes, you see it in the trailer, but you don't see the double side till the very end.
No, not in the movie.
Dude, we could do a whole episode about how much I love that scene. I know you've heard me go into it. Oh,
every drunkastrophe.
Everyone so far. That is like the shining. Okay, sorry. We're not getting into that right now.
But I feel like we're gonna get that because we've only seen Gendry present it to her, and she's like, "Oh fuck yeah,
yeah."
And it's just a staff though, with the fucking dragon glass dagger at the end of it, And I think in the fight, it's gonna come down to it. She's kicking some ass with it, and then just she's got two of them. She just busts that thing apart, and she's kicking ass with them.
Like if we had more time, I know that you said that some people have been bitching about Jaime not having a blade on his hand, and so like
dragon glass hands.
I was just saying this. So Arya had her scene where she busts in on Gendry, hot and steamy from blacksmithing, and he's like, "Can you make this?" Maybe I can make that. I'm making a bunch of other stuff. She's like, no, you need to make this.
Some fucking pervert pointed out.
10 minutes after she does that and leaves, Jaime's like, can you make this? It's a fucking dragon glass.
If we had more time and it was like the next day, because we all saw what happened after he presented the staff to Arya, she pretty much like kind of forced her will on him.
Yeah.
But
she did. She fucking was like, "We're doing this." He's like,
Like, can you imagine if Jamie's like, "Hey, I have an idea. How about this?" And he goes, "Look, I just have kind of like some, like I'm not sure if I want to do this." He's like, "You're a good-looking guy." He's like, he's like, no.
I'm a little weary of special requests lately.
Exactly.
My favorite. I love the dragging glass hand idea. Just bitch slapping them to another plane.
I am surprised he hasn't used it as an actual weapon yet. I mean, besides
he did a couple times.
He's used it to block. I've seen him use it to block, but I've never seen him actually use it offensively. So a dragon glass hand would be badass.
It would. Do you need to be pierced with the dragon glass or just with sheer force? Because imagine him just bitch slapping in the ice, just like they shatter and like blow away, like. Just.
Well, I was saying if he had a dragon glass like blade for a hand, there wouldn't have to be any technique with it.
No hand at all. They just no hand at all. It's just a fucking like
a fist or a pointer finger.
Yeah, just a pointer. Just a fucking pointer.
Just poking the.
If it's a blade, you can swing and poke.
Yeah,
you know?
but I mean, there wouldn't have, since they just technically have to be like, sliced, pierced, whatever. Just swing
finger
that thing,
poke of doom.
Swing that thing around wildly.
And all of a sudden,
great idea.
And now we have Three Stooges. right within our Game of Thrones. This is why I shouldn't direct Game of Thrones. This is the shit I think of.
So the director of this episode is the same as Hard Home and Battle of the Bastards.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
The one that's coming up?
Nutter.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Mr. Nutter.
He's a real nutter.
Ha.
But you know what? It's awesome that he did direct Battle of the Bastards, and then he's directed these other two that are more like different and it's just a completely different feel. That shows a lot of like
this one, the A Knight of the Seven Realms, the current episode 2.
It's like Seven Kingdoms.
Seven Kingdoms. Yeah, sorry. It's been directed by someone who's also directed, I think, like 8 or 10 other episodes throughout the series.
Oh yeah,
so
they keep it
they're
pretty consistent.
Veteran. So it's like this season's just gonna be so good.
I'm excited. I mean, it's only slightly not Game of Thrones. I'm excited for them to go do the Star Wars stuff next.
Yeah,
I want to see what they're gonna do.
And
with that,
it was brought up to Kathleen Kennedy, Knights of the Old Republic, and shit like that, and she didn't like dismiss it. So
she would be very smart to not dismiss it,
dude. That would be great.
And you got two. You got Johnson doing his trilogy, and then you got them, a fucking Knights of the Old Republic by the Game of Thrones guys.
It would be perfect because it wouldn't go in line with anything else. It wouldn't cross any sabers. It wouldn't, you're not mucking with anything that happens within this ongoing saga they have. It's completely separate. You can do whatever you want and have complete freedom.
Yep.
I saw while we're on the subject of Benioff and Weiss doing stuff, I saw a trailer for a new Will Smith movie called Gemini Man, and Benioff's involved.
Really?
He did the screenplay and story and all that, and it's this movie. I don't want to veer too far off Game of Thrones, but it's this movie where Will Smith is basically at odds with a younger version of himself. Like they basically cloned him. And they didn't tell him his main target is himself.
Oh fuck! Okay. That's
and then
weird.
like they're slowly finding like he knew my every move before I do it. Like they both are saying this to like their like immediate superiors or whoever's around, and then they I guess find out.
I've actually saw the trailer and kept scrolling, and I'm gonna have to.
I shared it yesterday. I think.
I know. I just didn't watch it.
Watch it. It actually looks pretty cool because they de-aged Will Smith.
There you go. That's de-aging everybody.
We have the technology now.
We do.
Now,
let's get back. Let's get back
to it.
Where exactly were we at?
What else?
We're jumping around.
Yeah, a little bit, but that's okay.
We cocaine bowled. That's what we just did. What else technically is going on? Oh, this is a point. Jumping back to the first episode that we didn't realize that we didn't talk about.
We did a lot of gushing last week.
So when they're sitting there and they're doing the whole like when Danny and Sansa and John they're first talking and Branden goes, "Hey, we got other things to focus on," and he says he's got one of your dragons.
Yeah,
he's got one of your dragons. They're
Danny
through the wall. They're on their way.
Yeah, no.
Shut up.
And how did she react? Didn't. Ball dropped.
Well, here's the thing.
Ball dropped.
You
Absolutely.
saw the look on her face. She was like, "What?"
But it didn't look like he's got one of your dragons. Whoa, what?
My kid?
What? Maybe she just thought like he killed one of them.
Well, he said he's one of them now.
Yeah.
Did he actually say that?
He did. He said he has one of your dragons. He's one of them now. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, there wasn't a huge reaction, especially for how much he says that they're her children.
Yeah. Weird ball drop. But yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to point out because one of my favorite guys, I'll give him a shout out, Preston Jacobs. He does some of the best analysis for Game of Thrones. He gloats that he's read the books 4 or 5 times through, and he does comparison videos where like he does a series called What You Missed and goes through every single episode and compares what's happening to what happens in the books. He's a fantastic guy, and he points out all sorts of crazy shit.
Awesome.
And he pointed that out to me. He pointed out yeah, she just found out that one of her babies is now a fucking zombie, and she didn't do anything. She didn't react at all.
There's actually a scene that got cut, from what I understand, on last week's episode after the big dragon ride, like between the two, and they're kind of racing in a kind of a way, and then they end up landing near one of like a hunting land, like where John used to hunt when he was a kid. And then he says the line, "Well, you've completely ruined horses for me," and then they're walking, and then it cuts. Like, and since I've read this, I watched that pretty closely. And it cuts pretty bad, where it's actually one of the most least professional cuts I've ever seen. Like in the show.
Why did you do that?
Well, and it's because he slipped.
Oh,
he slipped, but right before he slipped, he said the line. It's like he knew exactly where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that people are like. That is actually a pretty cool line to have in because that includes like he didn't tell. Rhaegal, is that his name? Rhaegal.
The one named after
his father.
Rhaegar. So he didn't tell him where to go. He didn't guide him. As if you saw, he's kind of holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
He's sort of like, Leo.
I still love that interaction of her telling.
Yeah.
Where do I grab? Wherever you can.
Yeah.
What if I die? It was nice knowing you.
I've enjoyed your company. Yeah. So anyway, he says that, and then somebody pointed out that that I read somewhere that it's like. It explains why Drogon came to her when she got attacked by the Sons of the Harpy. It's like all of a sudden he's here to save her. Like there's some sort of mental link.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, that makes total sense.
And it's like, you know what? That's awesome, and I wish they wouldn't have cut it out. I wish they could have done another take. where he could have said it, because right as soon as it like you can kind of see, he said you've completely ruined horses for me, and like he's walking up and it cuts, and they're both sort of like have like a little smile on their face. Like they're laughing that maybe he just slipped or something.
How the fuck do you mess something like that up?
And it's like, but then going into this, it's like, of course, then in that scene, this is before he's told, right? Before he's told anything. Mm-hmm. And then the dragons are looking right at him. Like, yeah, we know, motherfucker. We know. We can smell it.
Yeah, it's not a you're fucking our mom thing. It's a you're one of us.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
And not just a Targaryen, but a dragon.
Yeah.
Within like the terms of the Targaryen, and going, so it's like, what's going to happen going into the next episode? Where like, are they going to run off like to their dragons and go get them, or are they going to like start there? Is like, because it almost seems like they've been ready, they've been preparing them. They've been waiting all night. So they got to know what they want to do. It's not like they just showed up and they're completely unprepared. So I want to know. It's like in the preview, we see Jon on foot, looking like he has maybe a cut in his face or blood in his face from something, and he looks like he's getting ready to get down to business. What if he is absolutely threatened? Would one of the dragons come to his aid?
Yes,
absolutely. And you said, her reaction, like you're coming after my throne. What does this mean? Is she going to run away? Do you think she would see that? And that would mean a lot more than just him telling her who he is. And of course, it's like, I can almost see why him saying that would come off to her as like, I don't, because she said, about your brother and your friend. Of course, how convenient.
Yeah.
Are you just trying to take this now? Are you just trying to like say you're this? And then that ultimately like the actions of the dragons.
I mean, the signs have already been there. I mean,
well, sure,
the dragon allowed him to touch it
in the first place.
And
I think that's kind of one of the things that made her fall in love with him.
Well, want to hear a real fun theory?
Yeah.
That wait a minute. You might have been the one to tell me. It might be one of your fucking theories. Here we go. About Jon getting iced by Viserion or something, and he doesn't burn.
Yeah.
And Dany sees that and goes, "That was my fucking trick. Like I'm the unburnt. So if you're fucking unburnt too, because Jon is both ice and fire.
Yeah.
So he can get iced by the dragon.
She's like, I'm the mother of dragons. You can't be mother of dragons. And then,
I'm not. I'm the fucking daddy of dragons. And then, bitch.
Davos is like, father. Yeah, you're right.
Believe you be the father.
Davos would be like, when did you level up, man? You just unlocked a whole new tier.
Dude, I love Davos so much.
Yes.
And I just want to gush on the one scene where he's like feeding the townspeople, feeding the more poor, and that girl comes up with a scar on her face that reminds me so much of Shireen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that. Oh God, he's such a good actor, and you could just kind of see where he sees it, and nothing is said, not a word is said,
but you know.
And she's like, "I want to fight." He's like, "I can see that you do."
Right.
He's like.
And indulges her,
yeah,
and then convinces her that there's a safe way for her to be a hero.
Oh, Davos is so amazing, and what I'm scared of is him actually dying because he's an advisor and he's not really needed unless we lose some other advisors.
Yeah,
like Basende, like where's Varys at?
Varys is pretty fucking absent.
He's in the fucking crypt is where he's going to be.
And they're not doing it as much in the show, but I'll give you a little book. We're talking like when you talk about like politics and you talk about backroom meetings and shit. Mm-hmm. That is Varys.
Yeah.
And there's a good chance that Varys is back on a ship back in fucking Essos because he's such a slimy fucking character.
I don't think he is.
He is a slimy character.
I mean, I don't think he's on his. I think he's there.
But what I'm saying is like there's a good chance he's not even fucking there. He's got plans. We've got the Golden Company coming. What about the Second Sons? There's multiple sellsword companies over in Essos.
Yeah.
And who's the other guy that Varys was dealing with over in Essos? The one that initially sold Dany and
that king or the whatever he was.
The other fucking fat rich guy. What is his name?
I don't know. That was season 1.
I know. He plays a huge role in the books too. And he's still alive. What the fuck is his name? We're talking episode 1, guys.
Yeah, I know, man. It's way back.
God damn. Yeah. Haven't seen him at all.
You know what?
You saw him in the first episode for like a minute.
That would be so interesting because, all right, let's theorize now that they lose, right? Which
fair assumption.
They're going to lose. That's my thought.
I think they're going to lose.
The only question is how many die. And I think a fair amount, and I think enough of them are going to survive, and they're going to fall back, right? So then, like, what if he is gone and Dany didn't tell Jon?
That Varys was gone?
That Varys was gone to go
get more troops?
Yes.
Then Jon would be like, why the fuck do you bitches keep going and getting other armies and not telling me? Because that's what happened at the Battle of the Bastards. Is he's under a fucking literal pile of corpses, and all of a sudden, fucking from the west, you got a whole army swinging in. Like, if you had fucking told me that 5 hours ago, maybe we wouldn't be in this position.
Gosh, yes. That's when I rewatched, because we started from like season 6, and of course we rewatched that. I'm like, she had so many opportunities to tell him, like. And I can kind of understand why like she wanted to hide her dealings from like with Littlefinger because he wouldn't trust it.
Yeah,
but it's like I have connections to the Vale. If we just wait another day, they like not even they'll be here. And instead, he's like, I must ride out by myself to save my brother who can't zigzag.
That kind of gratuitous fucking violence. Like, why did he have to die? Why did he have to die?
It's just like how fucking 1-1 died. Like
1-1 dying is integral to the story, though.
It is, but the way they did, like, it was completely unnecessary vulgarity.
Oh, right.
Like he's
right.
just, you can clearly see he's in his death throes, but to just
Unnecessary.
really,
You got another
he
beverage?
was gonna die. What's up?
You got another beverage?
I do. I'm ready for another beverage.
How are we doing on time?
We're at 46 minutes.
Sweet. I feel like we still got all sorts of fun stuff to talk about.
We have tons of stuff to talk about. What do you want?
I don't care. Anything really.
I'll give you the 420 juice because I'm actually not a big fan.
No, I'm okay with them.
We saved that King of the North for the last episode.
Oh yeah, and I've got a couple. Like the last batch of Omagong, they did 3 different releases. I've not done any of those yet. So there's, I think, Queen of Dragons, Queen of the Seven Kingdoms.
I don't like Queen of Dragons.
No, is that the red one or the gold one? I don't remember.
Whichever one was the sour blonde ale.
That the blonde. Yeah. Okay.
I get it.
Yeah. Sour blonde.
I get it too.
She is pretty sour.
Holy shit! We have one of my teachers from high school in here.
Oh, how's it going?
She's like Cersei's just far like. You used to be able to empathize. She's far beyond empathizing now.
No, completely.
Like with her kids and stuff, and I guess it's like, oh, all my kids are fucking dead. I'm already pretty fucking evil, so I'm just gonna ride this shit out.
Yeah.
But
so, one big moment of the show was the song, Jenny's song,
Jenny of Old Stones.
and
Dive in.
yeah. So I read something yesterday to where this song choice could be very, poignant for what's could happen potentially, because the song was written by one Rhaegar Targaryen,
I forgot about that.
and this song, and forgive me because I am gonna butcher and I'm gonna forget because I came here completely unprepared as far as having stuff to look at.
You know what's funny?
Same.
We did the prequel episode with John.
Yeah.
And he brought all of his notes. He wrote notes for the podcast.
You know, I thought about it last night.
Didn't use any of them.
Didn't use any. Okay, so I actually thought about writing down like in a notepad everything, and then of course last night's podcast happened, which was a fucking clusterfuck of all fucks. But
shout out Game Addicts Podcast.
Game Addicts Podcast, yeah, that's my podcast. It was a fucking
Yeet.
yeah. If you've ever experienced something called podcaster's luck,
Yes. Yes, I have.
yes, we've all experienced it. As in, like anything that it's almost like Murphy's Law of podcast.
Anything that could go wrong will go wrong.
And it was a complete clusterfuck. But episode's up, it's good. Anyway, guys. So the whole song it details the story of 2 Targaryens, and one of them has a claim to he's like the next in line, but he's kind of in love with somebody, and I believe that somebody is Jenny potentially. Maybe I may be like misremembering.
I don't know any of it, so dive in.
It's a popular song in the books.
But then Jenny's not really like someone that would be worthy of marrying if you're going to be king, because quite typically kings are in that position. You're going to marry for political gain of some sort. You're going to marry, through allegiances just to carry forth, like just like they do.
Yeah.
And this person had a choice. Well, I can take the throne, but if I did that, I would not be able to be with Jenny. And he chooses Jenny. And so then was like his brother or such takes the throne. And he's trying to bring the dragons back from the dead. Or not back from the dead, I'm sorry, from extinction. And accidentally kills himself, his brother, and something else, like, and whether or not, and some are all in like fire or whatever. So obviously they weren't dragons, of course. But that leads up to the Mad King taking the throne. So the person who you least expect then, who is not necessarily the next in line, but he ends up taking the throne, and it kind of leads to that. So people are wondering, and kind of like, was the song choice deliberate? As in a hint of, we have in this episode, because the song ends right on Jon and Dany, and these are the 2 characters that are in line for the throne. Is someone going to get this throne that we're not expecting?
I think that they're no one's probably going to agree. I think they're good enough writers that I think what you're alluding to is correct. That it is a hint. Because there's just so much shit. Like these guys fucking suck. Like, no, they don't.
They're smart.
They're smart guys. They convince a dude who, and people have been trying to buy the rights to Game of Thrones for a very, very, very fucking long time. So the author who wrote the fucking books made sure that these guys knew what they were talking about. And we've seen these hints, We're talking about 2 episodes, pretty much 2 hours worth of tying up loose ends. Yeah, I think that's a great possibility that the song choice is supposed to make you think about what's going on.
And of course, okay, so these are the 2 characters that have the most claim to the throne, Obviously, Jon is now number 1, But then it's like, all right, so if the song choice is there to make you think, and is like, does that mean that more bad luck is in line for the Targaryen line, and that what we could end up, and of course they've also already said, not not necessarily Benioff and Weiss, but people in the show, you're not gonna like this ending.
No,
they're like, a lot of people, they did not like this ending. But then again, what show have you been watching for 8 years, or books have you been reading where things work out the way you want them to? They don't. So therefore, this entire story, there's this the legend of the prince that was promised, the myth, here he is. His role is to get us to a certain point, or what,
Yep.
It doesn't mean that he's going to take the throne.
I don't have good thoughts for Jon. Jon is my favorite character.
Absolutely.
Jon is my favorite character. I don't have high hopes for him. Poor fucking guy. That is his story. His story is just, another of Ned Stark. He's probably gonna keep doing the right thing, and he's probably gonna get fucking killed for it. I don't know how it's gonna end.
And that's what's gonna be so awesome, because it's gonna be so hard to predict, and we're gonna have a completely conversation next week after the battle. Everything is settled.
No one's died yet, so I'll send this to you guys. We printed out one of those charts.
Oh, like a little pool?
Where you decide who lives and dies, and no one's died yet, so I'll send it to you guys, and we can see who comes out on top.
Awesome.
It's going to be fun.
I look forward to that one.
I think we can do a little over-under here real quick. I bet 7 main characters will die in this next episode.
That's a pretty solid number.
It is.
And it's believable.
In the list that we've got, I think there's 20 people that would be considered, like, if they died, you'd be like, oh, fuck. Mm-hmm. There's at least 20, 25 of those kind of characters. I bet we'll get, fuck, when I word it like that, 7 sounds pretty conservative.
Well, see, I was thinking 6, but, I'm trying to remember my own personal list, because I have a couple that could definitely die here, and other ones that I could see kind of going on. So, did you want to do kind of a character by character?
Let me pull up a list of characters.
Okay, like a really quick, just a really quick, thumbs up, thumbs down. Who do you see kind of coming out of this alive? Because there's some that I definitely do, and some that they're gone. They're fucking gone.
Yeah.
Because there's another character we haven't talked about, and that's what's going to lead into this: Theon Greyjoy.
He's gonna die, and I think if he says, I want to go protect Bran, if he dies protecting Bran, then that to me is about as good as a conclusion to his story arc as you could possibly get.
Again, exactly what I started my points with, full circle. His whole character, he was a part of this family, and I love that they brought that up so much in season 7.
And John's fucking lying to him like, you are a Greyjoy, but you're also a Stark.
I know.
You can be both.
I love that.
Jon is so smart. He's like the only person who fucking gets it. Like, stop. You don't have to have loyalty to. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be that crazy.
Well, because that's what got Theon to turn.
Because he was so hell bent on proving himself to his daddy, who never cared. No. His dad fucking hated him no matter what, and I hope Euron dies.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a great bad guy. But
he's gonna fucking die.
He's such a shithead.
I love watching him on screen because he has such charisma.
He's great. He's a great actor, and he does a really good job. From the guy that's in the book, the way that he's playing him, he's fucking killing it.
But think about Theon's journey, him turning on Robb, him going to Winterfell, taking Winterfell when it's being basically oversaw by a crippled boy, and it just, and then of course him burning his entire journey, and then him losing, essentially you can almost see a mirror in a way of what happens with Jaime. Jaime becomes humbled when he loses his hand and becomes less of what he used to be. That happens with Theon too. His weapon was his dick. He lost that.
Yep.
He became humbled. Wow. He became really humbled and completely different. And then he kind of came out of the ashes a little bit. And then Yara slapped him in the face or headbutted him.
Yeah.
After he finally, and again with Jon, he's like, he has my sister. What are you doing here then?
Yeah.
Go. And then when he gets her, she's like, you want to go fight for the Starks? And then he doesn't say it. She's just like, I love it. Go.
Right. Do it.
Go. And that's and him coming back to Winterfell, to the place that he once took, to the family he once betrayed, because the one right deed of saving Sansa to himself is not enough.
Right.
No, he
betrayed the whole fucking family.
He betrayed in name the guy that took him as pretty much a war trophy, but as a ward, but did not treat him any differently.
Nope.
Ned Stark was such a good man that he did not treat Theon like he was any different than one of his own sons. And you know what? And that's funny because when I first started watching this show, I kept getting confused and thinking like, when you hear how many children they have, I'm like, oh no, there's Theon, and someone's like, no, he's a Greyjoy. Oh, you're right, crap. And that's just because of how well, and that was kind of brought forward in, Ned treating him like his own. And that's a lot. That shows a lot for Ned, because then he kind of did the same for Jon as well, just to keep him safe, of course. But then, of course, Catelyn treated them differently. The whole family, like, just in name and bastard, that kind of had that ring to it. But
Ned that is holding it close to the fucking chest. He would rather have his wife hate him. He'd rather have his wife hate him than to put Jon in danger. Because he never told Catelyn what was going on.
Nope.
He would rather tell her, I slept with another woman and had a kid, than tell her the truth.
Can you not believe, though, for 1 second, that Robert knew that Ned had a bastard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about them in a pub on one of the down nights of the war, and of course Robert is a glutton. I don't think that's any different from when he was younger and fit and a badass. He's a glutton. He's betrothed to Lyanna. He's fighting a war for Lyanna. He's got women hanging all over him. He's drinking. He's having a good time. He's letting loose because he's in a fucking war. Doesn't know if he's going to die tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
All right. He's confident, but of course, you're in a war. And then, of course, there's Ned over there by, he probably having an ale or two. And then he's like, hey, go. He's like, I can't. Catelyn. He's like, you fucking die tomorrow, Ned. Come on.
And he didn't want Catelyn. I don't know if that's portrayed. I don't know if that's portrayed in the show.
It was,
but in the books,
it was honor bound marriage. Yeah, because
Catelyn was supposed to marry
Branden,
who was then, and that's what started the war.
Yeah,
he was killed.
He was killed hard.
Well, it was Lyanna's kidnapping, right, or taking, and then the death, or was it the other way around?
I'm trying to remember exactly how it happened.
Just think though, if Lyanna would have actually gone through with the marriage with Robert, they were betrothed, she would have just been another Cersei. Maybe not as evil and maniacal and all that, but she would have just been miserable, and Robert would have still been Robert.
Maybe, because I don't know. I don't know how many details there are about how much whoremongering he did before. Because an interesting theory is that because of what happened with Lyanna, that is why. Because he still talked. Because Cersei bitched. Yeah. He talks about Lyanna for years. So he loved Lyanna, couldn't have Lyanna, and then I don't fucking love Cersei. I don't fucking care about Cersei.
Sleeping with them, but I can also see him like enjoying the company.
Absolutely,
like, them drinking, having a good time, and then you have like, Ned's tired and he tries to get like Ned laid or whatever, and then he goes up with a girl. They don't do anything.
I just don't think the argument that Lyanna would have faced the same fate as Cersei. I don't think so, because I think Robert legitimately cared for Lyanna.
Yeah,
that wasn't
he loved her.
That wasn't typical like
so much.
You have to marry this person for this reason.
She didn't necessarily love Robert, and like within the same. She obviously loved Rhaegar because she ran off with him,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but like so much that on Robert's wedding night he whispered Lyanna's name into Cersei's ear.
I guess.
Oh yeah.
I guess I never really looked at it from that point of view. As his whoremongering was essentially his coping mechanism.
He couldn't find happiness. He couldn't find that. And
I never thought of it like that.
And what I was saying about them, like I can imagine, like on that night, Ned went up with a girl, didn't do anything. Ned's an honorable guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much left, and she went with him, and Robert's like, ha 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 ha, right? And then it's like the next day they're riding off. He's like, "How'd you sleep?" Fine. He's like,
just fine.
And then of course when it's all said and done, imagine if Ned and Robert, because what bastard, what woman would Ned have slept with, right? That
Ashara Dane, who's not in the show.
Right. But then if he's like, can't imagine you'd have a bastard. Who? He goes, who's the mother? He's like, remember that whore in what town? He goes, I knew it. I knew I could break the honorable Ned Stark.
And they bring it up in their little dinner or lunch on the road back to King's Landing.
He's like, I can just see him like slapping him on the back, going, "I knew I could break your fucking honor, you little bastard." I can. Their relationship is such like that I could see that portrayal happening, but like,
because Robert would have just fucking burnt down the whole fucking all 7 kingdoms if he'd ever had an inkling of the truth.
Oh, absolutely.
What happened? She didn't actually love you. She wasn't kidnapped.
Rhaegar, she had a kid, and he's the heir to the throne.
Yep.
That would have drove him. He would have become the Mad King 2.0. He would have been nuts. But we were going to go through the list and go through a quick thumbs up, thumbs down. Who's gonna live?
I might be skipping some of these people because they're completely pointless.
They've got what is called plot armor.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about I saw Robb and Aaron.
Oh,
we're talking about people that are pretty much exclusive to the next episode.
At Winterfell.
Yeah,
and this could be pretty rapid fire. We don't have to go into full reason why they would die.
Yeah.
Unless it's a good story.
Edison Tollett,
dead.
He could die. Yeah,
dead. Yeah, he dead.
He is the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. He's the guy that took Jon's
place.
Robb and Aaron.
Robb and Aaron is super interesting in the books in the way that he's got the same kind of telepathic powers that Bran does.
Lyanna
Mormont.
She could.
Live. I'll vote live.
It would be impactful
if she died.
Because they've been building her up to be such a badass, just with her words and her attitude. Mm-hmm. She is such a strong presence.
It would be a powerful moment to see her laying on the ground dead.
Yes.
And for Jorah to see that.
Yes. Yes. Gilly. She's there.
I don't see any reason for her to die.
No.
Live. Podrick.
Dead.
Really dead.
We're never going to find out what he did to those girls.
Kind of funny podcast reviewed, and they said Podrick dies, but his dick stays alive for another 3 episodes. And
his dick becomes the 3-eyed raven.
Or the one-eyed raven.
The one-eyed raven. I think his death is really dependent on Brienne's death.
Yes.
I kind of, maybe I'm being too sensical with that, but then again, it's like they've led you to believe that her character arc is done so she could die. Maybe it's like he dies and she lives, and that's sort of like the tragedy.
That's what's going to happen.
Mm.
So, you know what? I'll say live. So 2 dead, 1 left for him.
Yeah, he's dead. He's fucking dead.
I think
yeah, we'll get there. Read Beric Dondarrion.
Dead.
Yeah, he's gonna die.
Dead as fuck.
His
doing exactly what he wanted to do. He wants to die in the battle for the dawn.
He's gotten where he wants to be. The story has taken him where he needs to be. So yeah, he's dead. Sunday.
Sure. She doesn't need to. She's not going to be seeing combat, but
she's alive. Yeah.
I don't think her and Grey Worm will die. So that's my vote. Is one of them will live and one of them will die.
Well, guess what? Guess who's next? Grey Worm. He is dead.
I think it'd be Grey Worm.
I think so too.
He's dead. He sealed his fate when he straight up said, we'll go to those beaches. I'll protect you.
We're going to the Bahamas after this.
Yep.
Gendry.
I could see him dying.
I can see him living. I can see him being like among the survivors.
I can see it going both ways because once again, I've seen it. I've seen the memes. It's like, let's join our houses. Stark
He could be
Baratheon.
I think that Gendry could be a point of, because he's fucking Robert's kid, so he could be used as a plot point, an argument, and like to say like we don't need to worry about who's the fucking king. I could be the fucking king. My dad fucking usurped your dad, so I'm the one who gets the fucking throne, or you get the throne, or you. It doesn't matter. He could, because Gendry doesn't strike me as the guy who would argue
giving away thrones.
Right, he'd just be like,
you get a throne, you get a throne.
Right,
yeah,
right. I think he could be used as a plot point to argue against worrying about it. Like, well, who fucking cares?
Yeah,
we need to just get this job done.
I think he can live or die. I think if he dies, then Arya's pregnant.
That'd be weird. I don't see where that would go.
If he dies, I think if he doesn't die, then she's cool.
I just want to see what point an Arya pregnancy would
just joining.
It
the
would
house.
definitely change her, and this is always with Arya. Like there's always something that happens that kind of changes her trajectory for where she's going. And her being pregnant and him dying, like she's been living her life to this point, and it's like wow, now it's different.
Arya strikes me as the character who could be, because I bet we'll have at least a character or two who sees the madness of what's going on and dips. And Arya strikes me as the person who could say, like, my whole fucking life has just fucking sucked. I've been running and fighting. I'm just getting the fuck out of here. I can see Arya being that person.
So we got Tormund.
Dead? Absolutely. He goes down taking a blow for Brienne, or at least saving her from danger, and then her letting her fall back, and then he goes down in a blaze of fucking glory.
I can definitely see the blaze of glory, for sure.
Did you say Blaze of Glory?
Blaze of Glory.
I'm just being stupid. Blaze of Glory was a really bad movie.
Oh, Blade. You said Blades. Okay. Yeah, it was really stupid. If you can dream it, you can do it.
Yeah.
The Hound.
No.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
He lives.
All right. There's a character we have not talked about or
she's
seen.
coming back, and I think she's gonna play a role.
But I don't think she'll be there until after this episode.
Yeah, she's not gonna be there for this.
Yeah, and I think her and Varys are gonna die together.
You think so?
In some way or another.
So then, therefore, Jorah.
Ooh, I could see Jorah dying.
I can see Jorah going down to save Daenerys.
Yep.
There's the whole scene where Jon is in the Godswoods, right? Who else is going to be in the Godswoods? Bran. Who else is coming for Bran? Night King. Who's going to be with Jon? Daenerys. Who's going to be there to take a javelin to the fucking heart? Jorah.
Yeah.
Varys.
And just
he's
like you said, I mean,
he's not there. He's gone.
He's fine.
He's doing what he does. I think he'll live for now.
Varys is fine.
Davos.
I don't want him to.
I want him to live, but there's a good chance he could die.
I don't want him to, but then everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket, and he could end up dying.
Yep. Samwell.
Live.
He's fine.
He's fine.
Want to know why?
Because he's right in the whole thing.
Sam's telling the story.
Yep.
Sam ain't dying.
Theon.
Bye.
Dead.
He's dead.
Goodbye, Felicia.
He's dead. Brienne.
I'm going with dead.
I'm going with live.
Her arc is done as fuck.
She's gonna live.
That's like your opinion, man.
She's gonna live.
Oh, see, I can see it going both ways too, though, because I can see her dying and then Podrick picking up Oathbreaker.
Ooh.
Or Oathkeeper. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
I could also see Podrick dying and then her seeing it and just being like devastated and like, and then
running into a suicide
then
kind of mission.
Then she goes
sees
ham.
him dying, and
then
then she just goes ham.
And then Tormund. I mean, anyway.
Jaime Lannister.
Live.
Bran Stark.
Lives.
Dead.
No.
I think he lives.
If Theon dies, Bran dies.
No.
I think that's gonna
If
be.
it comes down to the nitty gritty, then Bran is gonna warg into that fucking Night King. It's gonna happen.
No, I'm not saying that won't happen, but I'm saying Bran dies last 20 minutes of the episode.
It's bold. I don't think so.
And that's gonna be the fall of Winterfell. Mm-hmm. Winter will fell.
Winter rise.
Yeah, no, whatever. And then they're gonna flee. They're gonna be forced to flee. This isn't the end of the dead.
They showed us too much. They showed us too much of Bran's power. We're gonna see.
Oh, he's definitely gonna do something. His death is going to mean something.
We're gonna see some time traveling, some kind of warging. He's going to do something absolutely wild that totally changes the game, and my poor little brain can't think of what it's gonna be.
Is he gonna hold the door again?
I think he'll live.
Arya,
live.
Sansa.
Yeah.
She's in the crypts. I think the crypts are gonna live.
There is that scene of Arya running through the crypts, as though she's running, perhaps, to tell them that it's all going to shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tyrion Lannister.
He's gonna live.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got my own theory about how he ends up.
Daenerys.
Live.
Yeah, Daenerys, Jon, they're gonna live.
Yep. That's the list.
Yep.
That's the list of all of the living people in Lannister in
Lannisterfell.
Lannisterville.
So.
Call Lannisport.
Thanks. Yeah, this is
that was a fun little exercise.
Oh man, this next episode,
it's gonna be wild.
I'm not ready for it. Like emotionally, I don't think I am. It's gonna be, So they said that one of these episodes is gonna be the longest running
single shot,
or like not so much single shot, but the single, like longest on-screen battle.
Yeah.
With all these characters, you can be bouncing back and forth in different parts of the battle. So is this it? Because this is now the longest episode.
I mean, what else would it be? There might be some battle with whoever in the Lannisters, but I think this
is it.
This is the fight that we've been hearing about. This is going to be the big fucking knockout fight.
I hope so.
So there was this little scene that kind of got brushed over and left to the wayside, but you see Bran and Tyrion.
Him sitting down with him
but
you've had quite a journey. It's a long one. I've got time.
Oh, it's like we're stuck in a castle and
with
middle
winter, nowhere to go.
Yeah, and then it cuts to something else.
So that way, if Bran does die, then he end up telling Tyrion in that amount of time enough information to carry that information forward. I mean, it's an interesting thought.
I feel like they went out of their way this episode to paint Tyrion as some kind of strategic genius, and all he's really done is fuck things up.
Well, here lately, but then in the moment, and I brought this up earlier this week, because when you have the battle at the Blackwater,
brilliant, sure, that was great.
But like in the moment when things are down and count, and it counts, when it's like time to think on your feet and make decisions, he's good at that.
Yep.
Everything that he's failed at so far is like planning ahead, doing that kind of stuff.
He's like, trying to play the game and stuff. That's weird. That's weird. He's not as good at playing the game as he is about being more of a general. Like he's definitely
exactly. And so, can you imagine? Like, he's going to be in the crypts. Is he going to be the reason why while things are going to shit, he gets up and he starts barking orders to get the fuck out of there?
Mm-hmm.
And he started he could be the reason why the rest of them who live because he calls for a full retreat or whatever.
Sure.
Starts yelling stuff. And then, of course, they'll be like, wow, okay, finally, he's back. The genius is back.
Yeah.
Just in time to celebrate that. Like, you really are useful.
Because they rode that home this episode.
Yeah, they did.
Like,
they did.
Trust Tyrion. He's so intelligent. Like, he's kind of, like, he's a murderer and a whoremonger, and he's done a lot of really terrible things. I guess he's done a couple good things. I love him as a character.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man, I think he's going to get that, because then I have my own theory about what's going to happen right after that. He's going to be appreciated so much, and then we still have that issue with Bronn getting the crossbow.
Do you think he's going to do it?
I think he'll kill Tyrion.
You think?
I think so, because he's not. While he is friendly with them, Bronn is loyal to Coin. He always has been. So therefore, like, he can be like, it's nothing personal. I'm sorry. And then what would that do to Jaime? Would that be the catalyst for Jaime to be like, can you imagine him stepping up to Bronn, or like him finding out and Bronn's like, you're shit with a sword now. Yeah. And then of course he ends up killing Bronn.
Still murks him.
And, with Jaime being furious. And then would that be the turning point for Jaime to go face to face with Cersei again?
Yes. Ooh.
That would be the one thing, because they've already talked about
all this. There's got to be the one thing that convinces Jamie, like, you are irredeemable now.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a fun theory.
I don't know. That's just something I thought of the other day, and I'm like, because they were talking like, no, Braun's not going to do it. Braun won't do it. I'm like, yes, he will. I think he will. I think he is one of those guys. I'm going to do what he just did.
I'm following you right after.
I don't think Braun's going to do it.
He brought up a really interesting point, though. He might actually do it to someone like Tyrion. Jamie notices, and that is the straw that breaks the camel's back.
And that makes sense, yes, but at the same time, I just don't think he's going to do it. He has the only thing Braun has ever had loyalty to is money, Jamie, and Tyrion.
Exactly. So he's going to decide what's it going to be. What's it going to be?
I think
if he makes it to, I don't think we're going to see Braun this episode.
No, we don't need to.
But
that would just distract us. That would be a giant distraction, and I don't think so. No. Braun's for episode 4.
4?
Yeah, I think 4 or 5.
I always got to remember that whatever's going to happen is something that we're not going to expect, probably. Because I personally don't think Braun would do it. But there's plenty of arguments that are like, no, dog. He
totally would.
Totally would.
I really, I mean, maybe it's just wishful. God damn, what the hell just happened? My beer exploded from I was just pouring it in the glass and just.
I'm smashing through these, man.
I smashed through the Pineapple Express. Like, damn, that was fast and smooth. I'm taking my time with the silver nuggets.
No, that's a big boy.
But no, I maybe it's just wishful thinking, and I'm just heading the fucking clouds. But I don't think Braun would do it.
Me neither.
I don't think he would do that for Cersei for any amount of gold. I think he would more likely just say, yeah, I'll do it, take the gold, and fucking.
Because he could also then just tell them. Braun could just tell Tyrion or Jamie, like, your sister wanted me to come down here and murder you guys.
With this.
Yeah, and that would be something.
Recognize this.
And that could also prove to be the point that makes them go, like, all right, maybe we should send someone down to King's Landing to deal with this stupid bitch.
But I don't think the show is, like, necessarily, like, ever been designed to give you that kind of satisfaction or give you that good of a good guy.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We've had a lot of amazing, like, fuck yeah, that's what I've always wanted moments for, like, the last 2 seasons.
And then how many times, like going all the way back to the death of Ned.
Yeah.
I mean, boom, you think, okay, he is now, here's Ned Stark saying, yes, I plotted, I did this, I'm doing this to save, saving his family. I'll take the black, blah, blah, blah. Because he knows Robb will become Lord of Winterfell, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, no, you're dead. Shit.
Oh, we're not accounting for Joffrey.
You're right.
Joffrey, fucking wild card.
This is the same show that gave us the Red Wedding.
Yeah.
So do not even think for a second that Tyrion is safe.
Motherfucker
could die.
And
at the end of episode 4, he could be like, you know what?
The thing is,
it wasn't so bad.
I think I've told you, like, it was this week's episode of Podcastrophe. I straight up said, like, all these theories and, like, speculation of, like, who's gonna die and all of these things. I'm not just talking Game of Thrones. I'm talking Avengers Endgame. I'm talking Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. As much as I would love to theorize and speculate and what's gonna happen, like, at the same time, I don't believe I'm going to be mad at any outcome or anything that actually happens. Like, Game of Thrones is notorious for killing off your happiness.
Absolutely.
Game of Thrones loves killing your joy.
And they have not.
They don't disappoint when it comes to killing your joy.
They haven't done that for a while either.
No, they haven't. So, like, I think no matter what happens, like, no matter what, like, okay, yeah, I can sit and say all day, Braun's not going to kill Jamie or Tyrion, but if he ends up doing it, I'm
not going to be terribly surprised.
I'm not going to be surprised or pissed. I don't think I'm going to be pissed at any of this. Like you said there, that this is going to be a bittersweet ending. I don't think I'm going to be pissed about it regardless, because as long as it evokes some sort of emotion, like, yes, fuck, I'm pissed, as long as it evokes some sort of emotion, I am satisfied with this show. Just like with Breaking Bad, with Sons of Anarchy.
Breaking Bad was such a beautiful example of how TV should be, though.
Yes.
Didn't overstay its welcome for one fucking second.
No.
And I think that there are definitely parts in the whole fucking, what are we at, season 8?
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely parts that could have been, flossed up a bit. None of that with Breaking Bad. Every single second of every single episode mattered.
It mattered. Yeah, I'm glad you put it like that.
Yeah.
Not to get into a Breaking Bad discussion, we could make a podcast about that, or a short podcast about that one.
That'd be fun. But there were definitely parts in Game of Thrones where you're like, this is not necessary.
Yeah.
We don't really need this. We could have filled this space with more interesting plot points.
Do you remember that episode it was just an episode, I can't remember what happened in the episode, but at the very end of the episode, they outroed it with like flogging Molly or Dropkick Murphy or something like that. It was just like It was just so out of left field. Like you're used to like the hard cut stop, and then it hard cut stops, but you hear fucking punk rock Irish music.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's like, what? Wait.
That's almost like that Breaking Bad episode that starts with the whole Heisenberg music video.
Yeah, fucking knife party.
Yeah.
Bonfire. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that real hard.
But I'm really glad the way you said every second of every moment of Breaking Bad mattered.
Mm-hmm. There's no fluff.
Not that you said it was amazing or like it was good. It was just because
there were boring episodes, but
season 1 is rough to get through.
It's got some high points, but it's the beginning
comparatively to the rest of it. It's
a build-up. It's a build-up.
It's so hard to get people into Breaking Bad because they have to get through the first season,
which was affected by the writer's strike. You gotta remember that too.
True,
but people want immediate satisfaction all the time, and first season's not bad. It's just build up. It's building up what's going on.
Because you need to get to season 2 and that whole greatness, that whole the whole like artistic overarching stuff at the beginning, and the pool and the bear and everything, and then it all leads up to him watching Jane die.
No one's interested in watching a show about a teacher that doesn't have enough insurance to pay for his fucking cancer treatment. That's just everybody's daily life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It gets just wild, and it's a roller coaster going up, and it goes up for seasons. It doesn't go up and down. It's just building and building and building, and it just.
What I liked about Breaking Bad though is that like in that last season, it almost seems like it could have been 2 full seasons of that, but I liked the abruptness of it because that is such real life. How quickly shit goes downhill and goes completely out of control, and where else in any kind of show but that show for that to happen.
That never ever disappointed.
No, I
am disappointed with episodes of Game of Thrones. I was never once ever disappointed with Breaking Bad. It was always just like, fuck.
I was disappointed with The Fly.
You didn't like The Fly?
Okay,
that was like super super artistic. Like,
I hated that episode. Guys. I like moments in the episode.
See, I think that episode is so funny. To me, that's like old school comedy.
Mm-hmm.
We finally get a comment an hour and a half in. It's Jennifer Wheeler not talking about Game of Thrones, given we're not talking about it either.
Right.
But she says, anyone seen the show Sneaky Pete?
No.
You know what? That has Bryan Cranston in it. It's on Amazon.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like a new show with him. I have seen stuff on it.
Okay.
And I cannot tell you.
You get
exactly
a pass on this, Jennifer.
So yeah, it is kind of related.
You get a pass.
I've heard it's pretty decent, but I haven't actually looked into it. It's one of those things. Just haven't had time or the care to. Maybe one of those days I'll actually look up a thing on YouTube. Is this worth watching?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Gotcha.
Because I got tons of things to watch.
Right.
Tons of things people are like, you got to watch this.
So are we through Game of Thrones?
You know what?
Or do we have any final thoughts? Like, are we going to start rating the episodes? Like, should that be a thing for this series?
Not yet. Maybe once we get more into it.
We only rate the last episode.
It's kind of hard to rate these first 2 episodes because they're such character-driven episodes and in moments. Just like we said before, it's like the moment before the suicide mission. It's the calm before the storm, and we're gonna get like in the next episode. I have no doubt this episode's gonna start with they're here.
Yep.
And it's like, oh no,
scrambling the troops.
All of a sudden, it's like now they're over here. Now here's Brienne. Oh, now here's the Hound. Oh, now here's Arya. Okay,
we're gonna get like a half an hour of posturing.
I hope not.
I know. Because that's how long it would fucking take with all the characters that are there.
I know they do, but hopefully
and they're different positions.
Hopefully they can do some quick cuts because we've already seen from that one little catch that
montage of
that on the front lines we have Brienne, we have Jorah, we probably have a Grey Worm out there, probably Tormund, and then of course the whole flow of the battle. I look forward to next week to talking about it and dissecting it because it's going to be a lot to digest.
Oh yeah.
I haven't rewatched an episode before, talking about it, because how we've been doing it, me and my wife, we've been rewatching the episode before the next episode airs, so it's quite fresh in your mind, and everything. But that episode, I may have to watch again before we talk about it.
I've just been watching it, obviously live, and then next day I'll watch it again, and then I'll just keep talking.
I've not rewatched this one yet, but I've listened to all my favorite people talk about it.
Rewatch it. There's like maybe 1 or 2 things I missed because I'm usually pretty good about not missing little things, but there's like 1 or 2 things I missed, and
we actually didn't talk about the Jorah and Lyanna Mormont other than like just grazing over.
We didn't talk about the Sansa Daenerys, which
hold on. Well, then really quick here because
it's there.
I liked how they had that because the way that Lyanna talks to Jorah isn't so much of a you're a disgrace to our house. And everything like that.
It's cool. It's really cool.
Because he's telling her, no, you're not fighting. She goes, I pledged to fight, damn it, I'm fighting.
Right.
And then we get the scene with Sam giving Heartsbane.
Immediately after.
To Jorah. And Jorah now has a Valyrian steel sword.
Which is cool, but doesn't
all the people that need Valyrian steel have Valyrian steel.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Handing out those legendary weapons,
Well, it was a cool moment because Jon tried to give Longclaw to him.
Exactly.
And then he's like, "No, I don't deserve it." And that was honestly in tribute to Mormont.
Yeah, J.R. Mormont.
Yeah.
His dad.
Yeah, his dad.
Geor.
I guess I never knew his first name.
It's like
always called Mormont.
Geor. Geor.
Yeah, like.
But then Sam also in tribute said, "Your father taught me all that I know how to be a man, all that I know about being a man, and honor."
Tarly, I forbid you to die.
Yeah.
The Lord Commander decrees it.
Yep. No, I thought that's awesome because, with all these characters, the characters coming from overseas, coming into Westeros, you have all these characters. That's one thing this show, when it was first sold to me, way back when, was the pairings that they have, the on-screen chemistry that these characters have. And we still get that because then we had the whole thing with Sam and Jorah. And then that comes back into play. Of course, in the last episode where Jorah's like bringing Daenerys, like, hey, this guy saved my life right here. She's like, I executed your father and brother.
Yep.
And Jorah's like, wow, way to drop the ball on the guy that just saved my life.
What about first impressions? Do you have any fucking idea, Daenerys?
Oh, that's another thing, too. There's the little scene with
but
Daenerys.
Hold on. That was really cool that she just, like, she could have just hid that. She could have just not said a word about it.
She kind of Jon Snow'd that in that moment.
She did.
He's really rubbing off on her. Hey-o.
And that's cool. That is cool that, like, she could have hid that, and she could have been like, fuck.
So
Daenerys, feel bad about that.
In this episode, Daenerys is also really, tearing down Tyrion. Like, you're a piece of shit. Why did I even choose you? And then there's the whole scene with Jorah where he's like, look, there's so many times I've wanted to throw him out the boat. He wouldn't shut up, but he's a smart guy.
But he's all right.
And then she kind of says, hey, bro, I'm sorry. My bad. You're actually very needed. In the little strategy,
deciding where everyone gets to go.
The strategy meeting, yeah.
The strategy meeting, and I wanted to bring that up just to point this out. Think about how many main characters are on the same scene, on screen at once. Mm-hmm. How often does that ever happen in this show to have that many pivotal characters?
And we thought the Westerosi Avengers was crazy.
I know. This is even beyond that because they're all there together. Everybody. There's only a chosen few who aren't sitting in that meeting. But there's a lot of main characters that this story has followed that are in that. And I really enjoyed that. That was almost like when that came up, I'm like, I'm the center point, like, oh man, it's everybody. Awesome. Even if somebody doesn't really have something to say, they're there. It was something really cool.
We've come so far, and so many characters that were once so spread out are now so near and dear to each other.
And that leads to the different pacing for the first 2 episodes. Where a lot of these scenes would take episodes to take place. Yeah. They're back to back. Like I said, 3 scenes in a row. That's kind of like
last season.
Yeah, well, 3 scenes in a row with Jaime, and then you have all these different like Daenerys. It's like from the scene with Daenerys and Tyrion, it's Daenerys and Jorah, then Daenerys and Sansa, in which that was a good scene in itself with those two having one-on-one time, trying to get on certain I
can't believe he trusted her. You shouldn't have trusted her either. Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
There's the line where it's where Daenerys kind of mentions Drogo in a way,
taller.
Used to have a real beefy guy.
Yeah, he ripped his tongue out for me.
It was cool hearing interviews after the show talking about we're talking about all these characters who haven't seen each other before being in the same scene. But you don't consider that Kit Harington and Emilia Clarke have never filmed together. Yeah. So he mentioned that when she was coming to shoot the northern scenes, that was Kit Harington's place. Daenerys had never been to these remote locations, so you were getting to actually introduce characters to things that they'd never seen before.
Yeah. And even last season when Daenerys and Jon Snow were on Dragonstone, that was unfamiliar territory for Daenerys too.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
She was
Jon.
Yeah.
Jon's been down to Dragonstone?
No. He's never been that far south.
No.
He's only known the north.
If that's one fucking thing the Starks know, it's don't fucking go south. No.
Yeah.
Don't go south. We always die.
He's only known the north and the true north.
Yeah, true north. Yeah.
He's been up there.
That was such a magical montage where the boys go north. That's what happens when the boys go out. You end up in the middle of a frozen lake with a fucking army of the undead surrounding you. Fight $1 for every time that happened. Fuck. Ended up a little too north.
I'm gonna drink this next sip or drink, whatever you want to call it, in honor of Thoros.
Oh, I don't have a drink.
Yeah, I'm out, but
you can give me another drink.
How did you enjoy that?
It was all right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, Nick will agree I'm not the biggest fan of that style. Mm-hmm. Although I am getting more into stouts.
Milky stouts.
It was very sippable, yeah.
Yeah.
I can sit here and sip on it.
But we're not here to talk about beer. That's for Brews with Dudes.
Yeah, wrong show. Shout out Brews with
Dudes. Which we're very excited to do all of these shows live at LaFiCon.
Oh, yes. We're doing a Dungeons with Dudes episode. We're doing Brews with Dudes.
Brews with Dudes.
Tyler and I are going to do a Star Wars panel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If Branden shows up, he needs to be on that. I'm just saying.
We're just going to Star Wars chat for a very long time.
Awesome.
Yeah, LiveCon's this weekend for the live listeners. So
check it out. Saturday and Sunday. It's $5 to get in?
Yep. A couple of us are dressing up.
That's not bad at all. You should do Drogo again.
This would be the time.
Yeah.
I rocked it pretty well, but I was 30 pounds thinner last time I put it on.
But you still got the hair.
I still got the hair and everything else.
The hair's probably even longer.
Belly. Yeah, the hair's definitely longer. No. Maybe I'll pull out the Drogo. Well, do we think we covered it? I think we got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely looking forward to next week.
Yep. It's only
me too.
A couple days away now.
I want to just say, I think it's. I was thinking about this a couple minutes ago. I think it's so cool that me as as a watcher, I started watching Game of Thrones just as season 4 was ending.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you started around the same time, correct? Yep. But you had been reading the books?
No,
okay.
I got into it right at the end of season 4, slammed the first 4 seasons.
Same.
Then immediately picked up the book.
So, goddamn, we started at the exact same time.
October after season 4 is when I started this.
Wow, we all started roughly the same time.
And
that's
then
crazy. I did not know that. I thought you guys were like super fans before.
No. I became a super fan after reading the books.
Okay.
And I read all the books before season 5 started. So I read.
Wow, you powered them.
Yeah, he
did.
read
thousands of pages.
Did. I was there
in less than a year because I was in. I loved it so much.
I remember living at Doom Room HQ and just coming downstairs and seeing Nick, just reading for the day. And I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to read a book too. And what was I reading? Some stupid 5-Finger Death Punch book.
God.
That I never finished.
Good.
Yeah, no, we never had like.
If only their story ended as quick as yours did. But God damn.
We never really had HBO, and then we ended up getting stopped by one of those Comcast douchebags at Walmart.
Mm.
Hey, what do you have? You. And it's like. Well, like, do you have internet? Yeah, actually, and that's when he found out that we were still paying like a lot more for an internet speed they don't offer anymore. But they didn't bother to tell us that we were just grandfathered into this lower speed. But because of that, he got us all set up with like, it was like, well, we can have this deal, and then for 2 years you have this price, and for a full year you have free HBO. He goes, that is my gift to you since you guys went so long and you guys didn't know. And so I'm sitting there with HBO, and sometimes it's so hard to get the wife to want to watch anything. That's how we started watching Breaking Bad. I just started watching
I'm trying to get Miranda into Breaking Bad.
But like with Game of Thrones,
we watched episode 1.
Like if I bring it up,
it's a tough sell.
Sometimes I'll get a no or whatever. That's the same with Walking Dead when that first started. I had to start it by myself, and then she saw it and maybe started over. With Game of Thrones, I literally just started it like on demand. She goes, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Game of Thrones." Oh. Okay.
I forced Miranda, much like Breaking Bad, but we stuck with Game of Thrones, and I forced her.
I had talked to Nick Torres, who is the one of the namesakes of this podcast. That's never been on this podcast.
Yeah.
But I talked to him first. I'm like, I've been wanting to watch it. He goes, I completely recommend it and can't wait to talk to you after you've watched some. So it's funny because as I was watching, I was working with him almost every day, and we would have like a full podcast breakdown of where I was at and what I'd watched. And it was cool for him because like he hadn't watched any since season 4 had ended, and he hadn't gone back and rewatched since maybe season 3 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so like almost been a year. So going back where I was, he's like remembering things and talking about things. And it was really cool, and I got to do that leading up, and then to where I was, caught up with season 5 and everything. And of course, like it's hard to say for a show like this what season has been the best season.
Yeah,
I can almost tell you what my least favorite is, and that's 5.
Yeah, 5
because it's a lot of
favorite.
positioning, a lot of just moving,
shifting characters to totally different areas
to get where we are now.
Season 5 is a much better rewatch than it is a watch.
Is it? Because when I went to rewatch, I was like, we don't have enough time to start it all over. Like, I'm just gonna start with 6 because I know what happens, and 6 is where shit really picks up.
Yeah,
and gets us to where we are. But I can almost say that I think like season 4 was just amazing.
Yes,
so many things in season 4 were just top notch. I mean, the battle at the wall. Then you had like the
Viper in the Mountain.
The Viper in the Mountain. Holy crap! That was that's
where I decided I was going to start watching.
I was spoiled about 2 things before I even started the show. When the show started, the article I read, I'm like, "What's this show?" Mentioned the death of Jon Snow because it was just in the book, right?
Yeah,
because they're talking about characters and like it'd be interesting what happens to these characters since they die. And I went, and I didn't even know what they're talking about. And then all these years later, I kind of forgot about it until it was leading up. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot he dies. I said that to myself. I didn't say it to my wife because she's like, and I'm like, leading up right to that scene, I'm like, I bet he dies here.
I was totally caught off guard with the Jon Snow dying. I hadn't had that spoiled at all until I read it. And then I was like, and it is the last 10 pages of the last book released. So you're like, what the fuck? and that's it.
I was spoiled about Ned dying, and that's the one that I remembered when we started.
That's why I started, because it was Sean Bean dies and everything.
Right. Well, that wasn't exactly what it was, but right as soon as we started, I'm like, okay, these characters. And I'm trying to remember, like, because I read that article like 3-4 years ago at that point, right? Right when the show was getting ready to start. And I'm like, okay, so then he dies at some point. So, like, of course, I didn't know when or where, when it would be. So, it was still a surprise. And then, of course, the show blew up, like, with the Red Wedding. And
didn't expect that one either. I was sitting there just talking with people, and it was like, corner of my eye, I'm like, oh my God. Oh, no. Because fucking so many main characters die so quickly.
So, like, I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know. I knew that it was bad.
All I heard was Red Wedding. No one said it was bad. No one said it was good. I just heard Red Wedding.
I saw
just
enough
wait
articles,
till you see the Red Wedding.
I saw enough article headlines to know that this was bad, and I knew when it was. So, like, watching it, for the first time going through, it's like, okay, it's near the end of season 3, and we're like,
I had no idea.
Up.
And I had no idea.
All of a sudden, they start talking about a wedding. I'm like, oh, all right, so something bad's gonna happen here. I didn't know it was going to be that bad.
So the way I watched Game of Thrones, Rob, he let me borrow all of his DVD collections.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to start watching Game of Thrones. So he's like, here's the first 2 seasons. Hey, I'm through those. All right, here's season 3. Sweet. Season 4 just ended. Torrented that shit.
Hell yeah.
Man, and that was like, I basically watched most of it a little bit before that summer shutdown, and then the rest of that summer shutdown, and then shortly after that, I moved into your place. So and then I had to wait a whole year for season 5.
Did you guys have like watch parties?
Oh yeah, we've had one every year since.
I don't think I've ever watched Game of Thrones with you.
That's weird. Yeah, we have watch parties
But I think Cody may have been watching it while I was living there.
No, Cody and I were watching it together.
Okay, so I did get a little rewatch action at that time.
Because one of those things that he wasn't really into either, and I was like, no, dude.
I think the only thing I really watched while I was there was Sons of Anarchy.
Great show. I still haven't seen
I watched it end with you.
That was a good one. I haven't seen the new stuff, the Mayans.
That's out?
Apparently.
Fuck.
Apparently it's good, too.
Sweet. I want to watch that.
Me too. Have you watched any Better Call Saul?
I didn't watch any of the last season. I gave up on the whole I have a Fire Stick and it's hacked thing. Mm-hmm. I gave up on it. I sold my Fire Stick. Don't do it anymore.
Better Call Saul is really good. And there's lots of people.
I'm just waiting for it to hit Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
4 is?
Oh, no, new season. I don't know.
I need 4, which they usually throw shows up
right before the
new season.
I wonder if they've got a clear end in sight.
Unlike
6.
the CW shows, they throw it up like right after the end now, right? Yeah.
CW.
Because that's all like in late May that you got like all the CW shows.
But CW, you can get the CW app and watch all that for free, which is what I do. Let's
we're off Game of Thrones.
Let's
get
Game
out
of Thrones. Yep. But I wanted to say, I think it's so cool that like I just started a show mid-series, and now we're doing a podcast about it, like about the final season.
It's really good stuff,
and like that's a testament to how much not only we love it, but how just good it is.
No matter what the fucking haters say.
This is just episode 2 of 6, and I'm very excited to keep it going.
There's gonna be tears.
Absolutely.
And this show, I'm sure, will be revived if there is ever another Game of Thrones type show. Yeah.
They're already talking about the spinoffs.
They were talking about the spinoffs like 3 seasons ago.
Yeah, it's happening. There's at least 2 of them.
Yeah. So without further ado, this has been Game of King Chairs. You can check it out every Thursday live, and then we're dropping it on Fridays. The audio form. And you can check that out on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, and Stitcher Radio. Branden, thank you for joining us.
Awesome. And so glad to be here. I'll be here next week. I do.
Fuck yeah.
I'm already planning on it.
And check out Game Addicts Podcast, which he is host of.
Yes, please do. On all those things and more. Just search Game Addicts Podcast on your favorite podcast provider, and you get all your nice
Pro
audio. Dude,
well worded.
Fucking pro.
On all your podcast providers.
We are live every single Wednesday on twitch.tv/Game Addicts Play, as well as our Facebook page. Check out all of our social medias at Game Addicts Play, as well as the Thursdays, the audio, and Friday. If you missed our live stream, our beautiful faces are available to you on our YouTube channel. Please check that out. That is your one-stop shop for all of your Game Addicts content, including audio and video podcasts, as well as our gameplay videos as well.
Damn.
I really don't know who's better, you or Nate.
Just sold the shit out of
It's
that.
one of those things where, like, you know, you just get used to doing it, and you get a way of saying it. Mm-hmm. And it threw me off because there for a while we switched to every other week, you know, for recording because of the whole like surgery and stuff with Mike. So I kept flubbing myself. I'm like, we are live each and every other week. I had to keep telling myself that.
Oh,
but thank you guys so much for having me on.
Oh, of course.
Be back here next week.
Can't wait to hear you back here again. We need to get John for an episode.
He said this week's not good for me. I'm like, what week is like? You better be there next week.
He says that, and then he says like, no, next week is what I want to be on.
Next week we will have Mr. Ryan Strasma.
No shit.
Yes, Mr. Ryan Strasma is going to be joining us.
Are we gonna get like a live like bass intro?
We might.
Hell yeah.
Get him to boo 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 boo.
Oh,
awesome. I can't wait.
Nick, thank you for co-hosting the shit out of this.
We co-hosted the shit out of this episode.
And of course, we can check you out where?
All over the place. We're on the Journey into Comics Network for Brews with Dudes, Dungeons with Dudes. We're on all the places: Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, your other podcast providers. And you can catch us Brews with Dudes and Dungeons with Dudes. We'll live stream sporadically, but our audio always goes up on Saturdays for Brews and Sundays for Dungeons.
And of course, you can check out Podcastrophe every Tuesday live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, and in audio form on Thursdays on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Podbean on the Podcastrophe feed. And then, of course, you got the Journey into Comics feed, which that's a ton of shows, amazing shows, such as Nick's shows.
A cavalcade of eclectic podcasts.
Ooh,
that
is us.
And we're on Thursdays there too as well. But if you're hearing this right now, that means you're on the Podcastrophe feed. You've already subscribed to us, so head on over to Journey into Comics. Subscribe to them; they deserve it. You know, like Branden just said, a cavalcade of amazing shows
of eclectic podcasts.
Whatever you want. What are you into? We got it.
Oh yeah, we definitely do. So if that is all. Thank you guys for listening.
And we'll see you next time on another episode of Game of King Chair. That's my trim picking. Mouth trim pick.
Bye, guys.